So we are here with Louis Gray of lewisgray.com, and he just wrapped up a panel at South by Southwest.
Good morning.
Louis, thanks for talking with us. And so one of the things you're talking about in your panel is this idea of information overload, right? Like we used to rely on old media and editors to decide what's important for us, and now we have to kind of do it ourselves. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the tools and some of the issues that brings up.
I like to talk about the fact there is no information overload. A lot of people say that there is, and I think the way that you end up being overloaded by information is you've chosen too many sources to look at. And so the way you get overloaded is you have too many people you email, you watch too many people on Twitter and friend feed, you sign up to too many RSS feeds. And so the first step is make sure that your data set is good. Only sign up to those things that have high quality content. Second, you want to be able to use the best of, things that are recommended from friends, things that people have shared, and kind of rely on them to try and pick the best of the crowd if you're not directly subscribed. I use Google Reader a lot. I share the best items. I find people who share items also, and I watch what they do. I go to friend feed and I check the best of day based on every single type of list that's out there. And I use other tools to find out what people are talking about, the aggregation sites like the Tech Memes, the Mac Blips, the Tech Fuga. There's a lot of them out there today that are trying to find the best news that gets shared.
And you're also an advisor for a company called ReadBurner.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about what they do?
So ReadBurner is interesting. It's kind of fun because about a year and a half ago, I said it would be really nice if Google Reader would show the top shared items by day. And they haven't done it. But a number of sites have tried to solve that problem. One of them is RSS.me. Benjamin Golub does a great job on that. The second is ReadBurner, which came out a little before his product. And ReadBurner, at readburner.com, takes basically the top shared items from Google Reader and puts them on there in the last 12 hours, best of day, the last week, last month. They also have a new service called Burn URL. So burnurl.com is a URL shortener, which will be integrated into ReadBurner.
It's awesome too.
It is awesome. It's better than any read shortener out there because what it does is it not only gives you a short URL that you can put in Twitter or anywhere else, but it has social aspects. You're going to know how many people voted something up or voted it down. You're going to know how many people saw a story. You can add it to any of those networks like the Digs and the Delicious. And so it's a lot more than just another tiny URL.
Sure. So one of the big topics of conversation with information on the web is this idea of the real-time web.
Yeah.
And, obviously there's a number of issues surrounding that. Can you talk a little bit about where we're at with the real-time web, where we're going, and why maybe it's...
We're at the beginning.
Yeah.
The real-time web is really just trying to find a way that's faster than Google. Google is great for content that's been there for a while. It's trying to take a lot of newness. Articles that were in the last day or last week are going to be higher on that index. But now there's a real-time web out there with Twitter, getting updates in seconds, in minutes. Friend feed, the same thing, which you can actually push out to Twitter. And so I tie into mine like search.twitter.com, the friend feed's advanced search. You can find what your friends are saying, you can find what the world at large is saying, and it's ahead of Google, which is impressive for anybody to be ahead of Google in anything.
Right.
So it's really at the start, and what it lets you do is get a real-time feel for what people are saying about TV shows, events, politics. I often do that. I'll find a TV show that I've never heard of before and go, what are people checking it out on Twitter? I'm not searching Google anymore for that. Because Twitter will say 4 hours ago, I really liked the episode. Right? And so that's the type of real time that you want to get.
Definitely. And so I think, one of the things that is interesting is as connections between people evolve, and we rely more and more on tools like friend feed, Twitter, Facebook, and this idea of a status update, right? Like
yes.
kind of a moment in time, kind of an ambient data stream of all your social context. Where does that come into play with the real-time web, and where are we going in terms of how that's all going to evolve?
Well, so status update. Status update, according to Twitter, is what are you doing? And we all know that's not how people use it.
Right.
If it was what are you doing, the whole concept of I liked that episode is false because that's like what did you just do?
Right.
And so what people are doing is finding it as a really short message type of scenario. So you can put an item in there that says, yes, I'm at a restaurant. You can say I'm at a restaurant with friends, or I just ate at a restaurant. The status update is changing from being a status update to basically what are you thinking?
Right.
What are you talking about? People talk about conversations and nested conversations. Twitter today doesn't really have that. The search.twitter.com functionality lets you do it a little bit. You can find out who replied to who and in what order, but it's not perfect. FriendFeed does a good job in terms of having those nested conversations where I can have 40 comments with friends about a topic and have that happen. And that real-time conversation about topics which are either new or old is great. And it's really just kind of moving the conversation wherever it wants to be. It used to just be owned by the blogs. I post a blog, all my comments are in one place. And that's happening happened the old way, but things have moved to Twitter, FriendFeed, social media, and Shifter. You name all these aggregators. The conversation's moving. You should know where it is.
Right, definitely. Well, Lewis, thanks so much for your time. Where can people find you online?
I tell them you can find me at Lewis Gray just about anywhere.
Right.
That's lewisgray.com. That's Lewis Gray on FriendFeed, Twitter, Facebook. You can find me in there. So that's the place to start.
Great. Well, thanks so much for talking with us.
Appreciate it.